As I can't hear any. Oh, I'm an idiot. It's fucking muted.
Straight to it. This is where I'd be very curious to see how your opinion evolves. Let's head straight to it. Alright, so Spite's section would start off like any other section in this document. Cinder would show Spite's tweet in which she had her Google Doc about her, and then would write an intro, saying, "I'm very sorry to Spite for the harassment she's gotten over the years for absolutely no reason other than being similar to me. I know how it feels to be called a copy, or inferior version of someone else when you know it's not true.
Why am I talking?
I disliked Spite for what I thought was her copying me, and I was harassed for being similar to her too, just not nearly to the degree I was with Silverveil. I never reached out to talk things out with Spite, and I should have. I'm sorry. I've never condoned or told anyone to harass any other creator, even if I've ever held anything against them myself. I lied when talking about Spite in my apology. I knew Red had talked to Nano about her in 2023. He had gone as far as to ask her not to work with Spite. It was not something I had anything to do with, but I was okay with it after he told me Nano agreed. I lied so I wouldn't make things worse for myself and admit to more than I was already being accused of at a time when everything was crashing down for me. I'm sorry to her for being unknowingly excluded from working with Nano because of how I felt about her. Wow. I believe Spite was contacted by Shy Lily and compelled to make a public statement about me. It's made up of allegations without evidence and is purely based on conjecture. She's profited off these baseless accusations since making them against me. If Spite was never shown in the screenshots of Red asking Nano not to work with her, which I feel Spite would have included in her document, then she made her statement over one screenshot of Red's DMs talking about her from May of 2023. At no point have I ever stolen or copied anything from Spite. Besides Red, I've only talked about my grievances with Spite to a handful of friends. Following her on Twitter is the extent Red and I have ever been watching her, and I haven't cared about what she was up to beyond mid-2023. I moved past all of this a long time ago, and I wish no ill will towards Spite." So again, this section would have speculation. In fact, the first page had speculation saying that Spite was contacted directly by Shy Lily and compelled to make a public statement. We don't have proof of that as far as I'm aware, but the most important thing I'd like to tell you is that this section is 112 pages. The majority of it is images, either DMs or designs, in which Sinder tries her absolute best to show us that everything in Spite's document, in which she outlined how Sinder copied her without acknowledging her, is false. She did this by showing us her origin story, the fact that her characters always had two colors, one of them being blue, similar to Spite. The fact that according to her, Spite only revealed her model a few months after Sinder had revealed hers first, back in 2021. She showed us the references she used for Sinder, and in it we can see a VTuber.
My fucking model was talking.
And the funny thing is that
it was talking this entire. I have to turn it down on my end, so I was like, "What the fuck? Why is my model moving? These fucking headphones."
It's created by the rigger of my VTuber model, Cho. Just a funny little detail. But yeah, overall, it would be so many pages of screenshots of DMs and everything else that proves that she wasn't copying anyone, that it was all her original idea, and that more importantly, the blue version of herself was not her copying Spite in any way. Even though they have some similar looking outfits, none of it is like this, okay? Now look, I can confirm from reading this section that Sinder wasn't purposefully trying to copy Spite. I guess in some cases it truly was coincidences. But then you remember Silverveil's section, right? And you wonder, why couldn't it also be the same thing there too? Maybe in Silverveil's perspective, they were also coincidences as well. I mean, look at this. On the 22nd of September 2022, Spite would post something saying 1 year anniversary, first ASMR stream this Saturday, right? 2 days later, Sinder would post a tweet reminiscing about her old persona in which she did ASMR and that she's
okay. That's a little crazy.
making more as time goes by. God, man, how is this posted on Twitter? These boobs are crazy. These have to be censored. Anyway, despite this was Sinder on purpose trying to take the spotlight away from her. But Sinder, it just so happened to be when she would publish these videos back in 2022. However, there would be one tweet, okay? She'd admit at least that there's one tweet where she made it specifically to piss off Spite. She'd say, "There's one tweet I found that I know."
What? There's one tweet I found that I know I made in spite of her. This was 6 months after of what I thought was Spite was copying me and being compared to her and harassed for being similar. It was wrong and petty of me to do this. Damn. So you just hate women is what you're saying. I know. It's a joke, bro. It's a joke. It's a joke. But like, holy fuck, dude. You think like, I don't know, man. I don't know. This is like actually insane. I guess like in the way that I'm saying it, chat, why doesn't she think a man is in competition with her? You know what I mean? Why did she feel the need to be in competition with her quote unquote friends that just happen to be women? You know what I mean? I don't mean to make this about gender, but it is about gender. You know what I mean? Because the number one thing a woman's enemy A woman's first enemy is always gonna be a woman.
Oh, I made in spite of. She made it specifically to piss off Spite. She'd say there's one tweet I found that I know I made in spite of her. This was after 6 months of what I thought was Spite copying me and being compared to her and harassed for being similar. It was wrong and petty of me to do this. So on the 10th of January 2023, Spite would announce that she was doing an outfit reveal debut. And so on the day of her debut, Sinder would post this tweet on purpose as some sort of clapback.
Wow, what the fuck? Wow. Oh, that's so fucked up, dude. Nah, man. On the day of her debut, I posted my blue merch artwork. Nah, dude, she's... Man, nah, dude. That's fucked up. I ain't even gonna lie. That's fucked up, chat. I'm low-key not even gonna lie.
Day of her debut, Sinder would post this tweet on purpose as some sort of clapback, saying, "Queen of Fire, check out my cool skull throne. I can't wait to wear this on a hoodie when my merch comes in." And it would be artwork of her specifically in blue flames, which kind of looks similar to Spite.
Yeah,
so now you might think, cool, there's some misunderstandings. Sinder does admit that she did it and she regrets it, sure. Can we finally move on because this document has been going on for way too long? No, because Sinder would make it a point to post speculation again, titling it, "Spite Copying Me."
Dude, what? What? Oh, you stalked her. You followed her and stalked her and clapped back because of what? Because of what? A woman's #1 enemy is always going to be another woman. And it just so happens that everyone's enemy in this fucking scenario is Sinder. And that's so disappointing because they all looked at her as a friend. Oh my fucking god, bro. Damn, man.
I'd like to show my point of view on why I thought Spite was the one copying me back in 2022 and early 2023, which led to Red asking Nano not to work with her. We were the only two prominent Hellhound or Cerberus-themed VTubers at the time all this occurred. This section should be considered speculation, the same as Spite's entire document was about me. Then she goes on to say, everything presented here could have been sheer coincidence, and I don't have any evidence proving it was otherwise. So now we know to skip this. I'm just kidding. We'll take a look at a couple pages so you understand what she's talking about. She'd show an image of Spite's designs, and then say, with the one on the right debuting on the 14th of May 2022. Sinder would then show her original model that debuted a month later on the 25th of June 2022. That's it. She doesn't add any more context or explain why she posted these images together. I guess you're meant to see a similarity. I guess I'll leave that up to you. Then Sinder would talk about—
There's no similarities. Come on, man. Be so fucking for real, bro. At that point, she's just arguing against the wall. Dude, this is like so disappointing. You know what I mean? Oh my god.
She posted these images together. I guess you're meant to see a similarity. I guess I'll leave that up to you. Then Sinder would talk about the moment in which Spite would come into her Twitch chat. We already saw this. This would be on the 11th of July 2022. She'd donate 1,500 bits. It would be the only time she'd be in her chat, and all her messages would be very supportive. In Spite's document, she would argue that one of her designs was completely stolen by Sinder. Spite would have that design done on July 20th, 2022, and Sinder would post something similar on September 14th, 2022. She'd then say that she got called off-brand Sinder and just a bunch of horrible things, confirming that she went through a lot of harassment, just like Sinder did in regards to Silverveil, or at least as she claims. To Sinder, though, this is disingenuous, because the model that Spite was showing in her document didn't include the final version that had ear flames. Yes, I agree. I do think VTubing was a mistake. You don't have to tell me. She'd then show a VTuber model teaser in which there were like flames and embers behind her and her model was fully black, and then would show that 3 months later, Spite would do the same thing, inspired by what she had done. Last thing.
You don't own a Guys, you made me show you where I got the okay, let me show you where I got the idea of this picture real quick. All right. I can't find the post. Oh my god.
I'll show you about this is that Spite would do the
comparison is like comparing sands and
inspired
nests
by what she had done. Last thing I'll show you about this is that on Sinder's stream, she'd have this Hellhound running to the side as one of her alerts. This would be before and after June 2022. 3 months later, Spite would post her own mascot running to the side as well. Alright, so maybe she did get inspired by Sinder here. But it's interesting, because Sinder herself admitted that she had used Silverveil for reference when it came to her stream assets, her emotes, etc. So even if that was true, even if Spite actually used her alert as reference, where do we go from here in regards to Silverveil's point of view? You'd even have some DMs from Nano's section make a comeback here where Red mentions Spite and talks about excluding her from being able to work with Nano, and that would pretty much be it. That's Spite's section. Be grateful that we didn't just go through every single page. However, at the end of this section, you'd see something else.
That's all Spite gets. That's all she actually gets. That's all she gets for like her fucking section. Being fucking harassed by her own community and being stalked by not only her and her boyfriend as well. But that's all she gets, genuinely. It's just, oh, yeah, I mean, I did copy you, but I also speculate that you copied me first. Actually,
a subsection called
bitch.
My Design Elements in Neantail's Claims. This would be something that happened back in 2021 when Sinder was still a PNG. It had been resolved, right? But Neantails felt the need to remind everyone about what happened with them while quote tweeting Bao's document on April 26, 2025. Neantails would say, "Do we remember when she sent her entire following to attack me because I made an ASMR roleplay with this hellhound OC that was copying her? Or how about when she was actively liking tweets calling me names? Of course we don't remember because she made me delete every tweet regarding it after it happened. This mean girl behavior is not new. Smaller creators like myself were just intimidated into silence and pretending like it never happened." So yeah, while this was old news, a lot of people weren't aware of it because it happened before Sinder had even gained some sort of an audience. One of the screenshots that Neantails would include in her post would be someone saying "you're cringe" to Neantails with Sinder liking it. Back then you could publicly see people's likes. So Sinder would claim that Neantails made it seem to be like Sinder had a problem with the fact that the character looked similar to hers, when in reality it wasn't the case. Neantails would reach out to Spite and tell her, "Yeah, I had issues with this Sinder person before. She caused this whole drama with me for a character that looked similar to hers when I called her a dog girl." Sinder would show us that actually, the initial tweet Neantails made back in September 9th, 2021, would call this design a hellhound girl. Sinder would claim that this is what pissed her off. And then of course she'd say that it looks very similar to her concept. Sinder would claim that she didn't send anyone to her.
I would low-key be so fucking happy if I was an inspiration to people. You know what I mean? If people looked at like my model or like stuff like that, you know what I mean? And you're like, yeah, I kind of like got the idea from Annie. I would be like jumping up and down. I'm like, me? Me? What? Are you dead ass?
And then of course she'd say that it looks very similar to her concept. Cinder would claim that she didn't send anyone to harass Neantails and would show Red messaging an artist friend to ask for advice because they didn't know how to handle a situation like this in the Vtuber sphere. He didn't know what to do. The artist was also confused and he'd joke around and say, "Looks like Cinder."
Wow, looks like Cinder, she worked at a strip club. Right? Yo, whoever this person is too, they fucking suck as well. Oh my god, both of these people suck. Whoever this fucking friend is, sucks balls too.
We worked at a strip club, shaking my head. Cinder then says, "It was after this that our friend acted on their own and commented on Neantail's tweet to defend me, with another couple of our friends joining in. I messaged the friend Red reached out to after they commented on the tweet. In these DMs, Cinder would say, 'Oh my god, blank, thank you for saying something,' after seeing that it really got me down. That friend would say, 'You're fine, girl, copycats are everywhere, but you should definitely step up and comment or at least DM her to tell her to change up her character design because it's too close to yours.' To which Cinder would say, 'Thank you for the advice,' and the artist would say, 'Of course, cutie.' So this, of course, is in reference to the whole 'you're cringe' comment that Cinder liked on Neantail's tweet.
Wow.
So did she send people to harass Neantails? No, not directly. But did she condemn this behavior?
Yes.
Not really.
Bro.
She was happy about it. Anyway, they'd end up messaging each other on Twitter, with Cinder starting the conversation saying, 'I'm sorry I didn't message you before replying to your tweet. Yes, this should have been private.' Neantails would agree with this, saying this could have gone a lot differently if it had all gone down in DMs. Neantails would do the same exact thing Cinder has done in both Silverveil and Spite sections of this document, showing her references, just to prove that it wasn't an exact copy of Cinder. She then specified that this character will never be the main focus of her channel. She'll just appear in 3 audios at most. So it's really not that big of a deal to make some changes if that'll appease you. Cinder would take her up on that offer and say that the most unique things about Cinder are the flames inside the ears and the tail's design. Regardless of the outfit, that's the biggest thing. Now, there was one picture in particular of their DMs that seemed really off, and Cinder addresses that, explaining herself. Cinder would say, "Below, I said you should be careful with what artists give you back in the future. It could lead to another situation like this with someone else. And it sounds a lot worse reading it back now than I meant it back then. I asked her to remove only the artwork tweet until revisions were made, followed by her saying, 'I'll remove my tweets if you remove yours,' which I agreed to." So yeah, you see this is Sinder saying, yeah, I can do that. I agree this was a misunderstanding and I do apologize for all this stupid Twitter drama. Really, I do. I don't know what other artists you work with, but you should be careful with that they give back to you in the future. It could lead to another situation like this with someone else. Anniepants would explain herself, saying, I hate confrontation. My artists are so sweet. I hate returning stuff or asking for alterations, though I see what you mean. I'll remove my tweets if you remove yours. They both removed them, and then Anniepants would say, sounds good. Glad we could sort this out. I'll be sure to get your approval for the changes when my artist is done with them.
Bro.
Yeah. One other thing to point out is that
I would be tweaking out. I'm not gonna lie. If I would just be tweaking out, chat. I'm not even joking. I would just like actually start fucking tweaking that out. Like, I would be like, you feel as if this is about you, but it's not. You know what I mean?
DMs, Sinder would genuinely apologize if there were supporters of hers that commented harsh things towards her due to her replying to her original post. They would agree on an apology they would both post, and then Anniepants would say, sounds good to me, so it's all sorted now, and we can assume it was. Anniepants would come back later messaging her with a new design, and Sinder would say, that's fine, thanks for getting back to me, I appreciate it. Just to point out, these revisions took close to a month to be done. Sinder would then say, I'm aware I did not and do not have the exclusive right to have fire on my character design, specifically in my ears. It is my most iconic feature, but that doesn't make it only my feature. Your VTuber character design is something that represents you, and in an IP-driven world, your design is very important to your brand. When someone adds similar details to their own design, or their design looks very inspired by yours, it can feel personal, like they took part of you for themselves. As I grew, I became much less concerned about other VTubers using fire elements like mine. I've seen many VTubers with fire in their ears, and many adding the swirl too, but fire with a swirl has always been a common trope. While it would bum me out when everything around that detail looked as if it could have been taken from me, I recognize that I probably inspired a lot of people to design themselves that way. I do not and have not held it against any VTubers who have fire on them, in their ears, have it change colors, are hellhounds, or have any other design element they share with me after moving past my feelings about spite in 2023. My friends would sometimes come to me about VTubers they'd seen that they thought were copying my fire features like here, which made me feel justified in feeling bad about it, like I wasn't alone. Nobody likes to feel like someone is copying or ripping off something as personal as their VTuber design. Not me, not Spite, and I'm sure not Silverveil either. So yeah, she'd include DMs here with a friend that was telling her that someone was copying her and she'd feel bad about it, and then in the next DMs that she'd show would be her being very happy that another friend has fire ears. She'd also be excited about another friend making an outfit similar to hers. So look, by now if you've watched my channel before...
So it's... Okay, so it's a W when your friend does it, but when someone else does it, that isn't your friend, but has been inspired by you, is when it's a big deal. Got it. Got it.
Or you'd know that these dramas about people copying each other in the VTubing sphere happen too often. And that's because inherently
double standards. Anything to climb the ladder, bro. Anything to climb that fucking ladder.
It's inevitable. However, in general, it says a lot about how someone would handle someone quote-unquote copying their design. Silverveil, Spite, and Sinder all had different reactions.
There are VTubers as of recently. I think there's more and more VTubers this past month being rockstar VTubers, chat. And low-key been feeling a certain way about it because I was like, damn, like, I mean, I don't own it. It's not my thing. But dang, just wanted a little shine a little bit for a moment. So instead of like talking my shit on Twitter and going schizo mode, I asked Yami for a new design. I said, Yami, can I get a new outfit, please? And now this theme is Slenderman X Silent Hill theme. And I'm low-key so happy because it's my two favorite games into one. You know what I mean? My two favorite things into one, and it made a really cool outfit. So I'm low-key excited for this outfit to get rigged. It looks so fucking nice. Oh my god. And I'm so happy. I'm so fucking happy, man.
It's up to you to decide who had the best one and who had the worst one. But now that we're done with this section, this leads us to the last section directed towards someone personally, and that would be Aru. So Aru used to be a VTuber that now does facecam streams. As you saw earlier in the document, this wouldn't be the first time Aru would be mentioned. Especially
I heard Aru wants to be a VTuber again.
She'd be one of the last people to make a statement on Sinder as the drama was going on April 2025. Here's what she'd say. I hadn't planned on tweeting anything about this until I saw Sinder's apology. While I wasn't hurt to the extent others were, it's clear now that I was lied to and used, not treated as a friend, but as a tool. I first met Sinder during a Twitch Rivals tournament and really looked up to her. We hit it off, messaged a lot, and got even closer at TwitchCon 2022 where I spent most of the day with her and Red. At one point she noticed I I was mutuals with Silvervale, someone I admired since meeting her at PAX, and asked if I could introduce her. I thought she was just a fan like I was. Sinder invited me to go with her to Silvervale's meet and greet, and it meant a lot to me. As someone who didn't grow up with many social invitations due to being homeschooled in a foreign country, that gesture felt special. But looking back, I realized she only invited me because she thought I could give her access to Silvervale. After I introduced them, Sinder pushed me to ask Silvervale for a collab. I'm someone who rarely initiates collab. I prefer to build friendships off stream first and let things happen naturally. Still, I went out of my comfort zone to help because I believed she genuinely admired Silvervale. Now I know that wasn't true, and realizing she actually harbored resentment the whole time makes me feel completely used. I wasn't a person to her, just a connection. I did message Silvervale about the collab for the first time, but when Sinder followed up again, I brushed it off because I didn't want to pressure her. Over time, I started noticing that Sinder didn't treat me like a real friend, more like a means to an end. Sometimes she made it clear IRL that she didn't even like me, and I can't help but think it's because I didn't push harder for the collab. By 2023, our interactions had nearly stopped. Still, I tried to keep things friendly in DM/IRL because I didn't know how to stand up for myself or set boundaries. That's changed now for obvious reasons. It's hard to say, but Sinder's apology doesn't feel genuine, especially not towards Silvervale. The truth is, Sinder isn't the only one who makes others in the space feel used or small. People like her, Yaki, and others made me feel that the best choice for myself was to step away from VTubing entirely and made me afraid to build new connections. But as I said yesterday, there are good people in this space, and they're the ones worth holding on to. Don't let the bad ones stop you from being your genuine self. She then ended this by saying, what I went through wasn't nearly as intense as what Nanoless experienced, but I do understand how hard it is to say no to a friend, especially when they make you feel like you're the only one who can help. I truly hope everyone affected by Sinder can heal and move forward, and I'm sorry for any negativity the situation has brought up from my side as well. She'd post this as a quote tweet to Sinder's apology, and she'd include DMs between them, the same ones we saw in this document so far. On the next day, Aru would make another post, thanking everyone for the kind words, and addressing some pyro pups who thought she was putting more oil on the fire when she didn't need to. Aru would say, I want to be clear that the entire reason I spoke up in the first place was to show that it wasn't just Red behaving this way. I only understood her motive with me after Silvervale shared her document. Then, seeing her apology where she shifted all the blame onto Red, I felt it was important to step in, not just to support Silvervale's story, which honestly spoke for itself given how many people were affected, but also to point out that her apology wasn't honest. Even while holding deep hatred towards Silvervale, she still used me and likely others to try and force a collaboration with her, all while pretending it came from a place of love and respect. This wasn't Red's idea, and it wasn't something he pushed. Here's what Sinder had to say in the document. Aru took the opportunity to speak out against me and lie, claiming that I used her as a tool to get to Silvervale, and that's all she ever was to me. I met Aru during a Twitch Rivals event in September of 2022, and I met her in person with Red at TwitchCon the following month. At the con, she mentioned that she knew Silvervale while we were sitting by the Vshoujo booth. This was the first time I learned this, and I didn't notice they were mutuals like she claimed. I told her I was planning to go to her meet and greet the next day. I had nothing against Silvervale at the time this happened, and I wasn't motivated to meet her up by deep hatred like Aru claimed. I chose to invite Aru to come with me because I was nervous to see her myself, but I was going either way. Red was with us, but he stepped away to the side when we saw Silver. While Aru, Red, and I were waiting in line, right after the meet and greet, Aru was the one who suggested the idea of a canine collab between us two and Silver, even though she claimed I pushed it onto her in her tweet. Since it was a verbal conversation 3 years ago, I don't have any evidence of this other than Red and I both being able to corroborate. She'd then show us DMs between Red and Nano where Red was spilling the beans and telling Nano how even Aru wanted to ask Silver if the two of them and Sinder could do a Wolf Girl collab together. This was on the 10th of May 2023. Sinder would continue. After the con, I asked Aru about the idea to see if she was serious, and she happily asked Silver about it. At the start of December, I asked Aru again about the collab to check if she'd heard anything about it. She said, let me message her right now, which she admitted was a lie in her tweet. Aru never said anything else about it, and I didn't ask her again. This in no way changed my friendship or view of Aru. She said by 2023, our interactions nearly stopped, but yet we continued to message each other on and off for the next 8 months. I even asked her to voice in one of my lore videos in May of 2023, and when she was hesitant about being a part of it, I reassured her I still wanted her to be. It was around that time Aru fell out of VTubing and we grew apart. The last messages in our DMs were from her asking me about doing the IT escape room at TwitchCon that year. Although I never replied to her directly, us and a group of friends did plan to do the Saw escape room there that year, which was organized in a separate Discord server. I have no idea what she's talking about in her tweet when saying, Sinder made it clear IRL that she didn't even like me. I would see Aru at conventions and events, and every time I've interacted with her, I always treated her as my friend. She hasn't messaged me, and I haven't messaged her. But now it's because I was always just using her to get to Silvervale. I messaged her about the collab she had the idea for twice, ever, almost a year before we stopped talking. Silver had no obligation to do anything with us, and I didn't hold the fact that the collab never happened against Aru. Her suddenly thinking she'd like to come back to VTubing in the same tweet she lied about me when it was popular to do so is extremely opportunistic. So I didn't mention this when I read out Aru's second tweet on the 28th of April, but she would say, and I'm so thankful for the messages about possibly coming back to VTubing. I'm not sure if she ever did though, I'm pretty sure she didn't. From what I could see on her YouTube channel, she didn't. I don't know if she streamed it, but for the most part,
she's so pretty.
She stayed a face game streamer. Cinder
Very
would then
pretty.
say, below are the entirety of my DMs with Aru. So look, the rest of these pages in this section would be just Cinder and Aru talking. I mean, these are normal DMs, and they were talking like they were happy to text each other every time. Cinder would then show us DMs of her asking Aru to come with her to meet Silvervale, which Aru was very enthusiastic about, saying, of course I'll go with you. Next thing you know, Aru would post the image of her and Cinder with their phones next to Silvervale. Silver would say that was so adorable. The conversations would be completely normal, right? They're just talking about the convention, parties, etc. When Cinder was driving back home, she'd ask Aru, hey, are you gonna message Silvervale? To which Aru said, yes, we already saw all of this. They would then continue talking from time to time, playing games together, maybe even collabing, I think. Aru would send some messages to Cinder sometimes asking about how she can use different software. And yeah, it seems like they collabed more than once. Then 2 months after TwitchCon, Cinder would ask Aru if she'd ever heard from Silvervale about the collab. To be fair to Cinder, after asking that, she would still message Aru from time to time. At some point even saying happy birthday Aru with no response. But Aru would still keep this going, saying things like I love you so much randomly. But Aru would also keep this going, sometimes saying I love you so much. I mean, I don't know what else to say. Overall, these conversations seem very wholesome. They seem to have been good friends. At some point, Cinder would even ask if Aru wanted to voice something for her lore video like she did with Nano. And their conversation would end in October 2023 when Cinder would pretty much ghost her. When Aru would say, Cinder, would you want to do an IT escape room at TwitchCon? It's this one. Cinder did mention in this section that she was going to go to the Saw escape room, but it's not known whether Aru was even aware of this. I don't know what happened after this. So yeah, all in all, this was definitely interesting, but I don't think it deserved its own section. It's all good though, because the good news is we finally finished.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like that crazy, you know what I mean? I think that this is like, isn't anything insane, to be honest.
All the big chunky sections in this document. The last 2 sections of this document would be message to the Pyropups. It would be 2 pages in which she'd apologize to her Pyropups for just leaving them like this, that many of them must have lost faith in her, and that she's sorry she hadn't said anything sooner. She says that she accepts the fact that some Pyropups would never want to support her again, thanking them for their support, and of course would reiterate that if they've sent harassment in support of her, then they're not a Pyropup. They're not a fan. She'd even go on to say that you're deplorable, disgusting, and I don't want anything to do with you, adding that this also goes for anyone who does the same after this document is posted. I want to sincerely apologize again to anyone who has been affected by these people. Red would also chime in saying, hey gang, I need to apologize to all you too. It's my fault any of this happened in the first place. My mistake sent Cinder into hiding and left you all questioning what to do. I'm sorry I caused all this. I hope you can still support Cinder and the projects we create in the future. Thank you to those who've stuck around. Your support has been a big help. So yeah, this would be Red really confirming, right? I hope you can still support Cinder and the projects we create in the future, because I am not going anywhere. Thanks. And then finally, you'd have the section titled Looking Ahead.
Okay.
Earlier this year, my world fell apart. I lost my friends, my fans, and opportunities I could have only ever dreamed of. But sometimes things need to fall apart in order to rebuild them back better. I'm choosing to look on the bright side. I needed something to break me out of my cycle of working all day every day and adjust my lifestyle for a healthier work-life balance. This was a long overdue reminder that the friends I've made should have been the most important thing in the world to me, and I should have put more time and energy into my relationships with them outside of the work we did together. They were supposed to be by my side even when I'm not Cinder anymore, and I lost sight of that in my never-ending pursuit of the next big thing. It forced me to recognize that through my own actions or inaction, I was hurting people that only ever wanted the best for me. If ever given the chance, I don't plan on making that mistake again. Despite everything that's happened, I forgive my friends. I don't hold anything against my friends who weren't involved. The artists I've worked with, business partners, and former mods for anything they did after all this happened, and I'm sorry for how they were affected by all of this. I've had more than enough time to think everything over and over again. Obviously, the root cause of almost everything that happened was because of poor communication between Red and I, between me and my friends, and between them and me, and poor decisions made under pressure. I was under pressure from Red about his feelings about Bao that made me distance myself from her, pressure on myself that made me choose V-Card over going to Nubi's concert, and pressure from harassment and my insecurities that led to trying to cut off Silvervale from Nano's models. Red and I had plenty of time to talk things out with people, and neither of us did. Everything that was made public could have been settled privately. This has set an awful precedent for the entirety of the Vtuber community, which I feel has become more divisive and drama-filled since this happened. I've always had problems communicating with people. I will do my best to be more open about what I'm thinking and feeling to them, even if it's difficult, to avoid any other situations like this from ever happening again. Red and I have both made—
I will say, can I talk my shit real quick? I will say that I don't give a fuck if she comes back or not, you know what I mean? I don't care. I'm in my own corner and I'm minding my business, you know what I mean? I'm just ready to play dispatch. But I will say, I don't know if I'm allowed to say this, but it is being said. Seeing everyone that I saw reply to her first document where she was apologizing and said that she kicked out Red. Seeing everyone immediately jump her ass, right? Now, I already didn't like her from like the get-go. You know what I mean? We all know that. And then seeing this document drop, right? And then seeing another tweet of her saying that she's coming back to streaming and that she hopes that she can move on. And those same motherfuckers be like, we missed you. Oh, we're so happy you're back. I'm just like, Are you? You missed her? The person that you jumped 6 months ago with everybody else? You? Gotcha. Gotcha. Understood. What you have just told me. You're a pussy. You're a pussy with no fucking backbone, bro. And any publicity is good publicity, is what you are saying. Anything to climb that ladder, bitch. I just thought that was crazy. That was like the only part that I thought that was crazy. You know what I mean? I went back at that document too. Where she was like, oh, Red immediately kicked out or some whatever the fuck it said. And I saw all those people that like was hopping on her ass, and then I saw her tweet, I think it was last month. Yeah, last month, where they were like, they were replying to her being like, it's so nice to have you back, blah blah blah. I go, low-key Cinder, I don't fuck with you, but I wouldn't fuck with them. From babe to babe, just letting you know, I wouldn't fuck with them, to be honest. Because that's fucking crazy. Did you have to unfollow people that did that? Yeah, I unfollow a lot of people. I also follow a lot of... I think I mass unfollowed a lot of people. Because, first of all, I think I'm going to only follow the people that I want to fuck with. You know what I mean? So I unfollowed everyone that, like... I just unfollowed a lot of people. I got tired of... if I could be honest, I got tired of people bitching and moaning on my Twitter. And like I said before, it was just very annoying to like open Twitter and then see so many people like bitch and moan, being like, it was just a lot. It was a lot last month, and I just started unfollowing people. And then everyone that was like doing that shit as well on her tweet and stuff, I unfollowed them too. Cause like low-key, I think people that are very you guys can tell me I'm wrong, but I think people that are like that are people that you do not want to surround yourself with. You know what I mean? Because they will get you in hot water. They will make sure that your feet is fucking boiling. So I was like, I'm chill. I don't need that around me, to be honest. I really don't. I've dealt with too many of you guys like that before, and I don't want to deal with it again. Valid. Yes, the chronically online people. It's just so tiring. It's so tiring when I see VTubers talk about like numbers and views and stuff like that, and I'm just like, God, man, do you ever shut the fuck up? I'm like, God, I can't goon in peace while you're over there fucking bitching and moaning.
Mistakes. We aren't perfect people, but we aren't evil either. We're going to try to contact anyone we owe an apology to personally, even if an apology to them was in this document, and hope to move on. I don't blame the internet for being the internet, making memes at my expense, and countless news and drama channels farming this review.
I will say too, it would be nice to see her interact with her friends again, but I feel like that's too late. You know what I mean? I think a part of me, again, I don't fuck with Cinder, but no one deserves to be lonely, if that makes sense. It would be nice to see her make amends with her friends and build that friendship again, because I feel like, I don't know. I have hope for second chances, and I'm like, you know, I don't fuck with you, but I will say no one deserves to be lonely. So it's kind of sad. This is like in a sense of, I guess like I feel pity for her. It's like, oh. Yeah, starting from the bottom once again. Case of too little too late. Yeah. Yeah, it's like, dang. Or maybe work on yourself first, not online. Yeah. Well, who knows, bro? Who knows? I'm sure that she'll persevere, whatever the fuck it is. She's got a loyal fan base. Her fan base loves her. Just hope and pray she doesn't like fucking, you know, wrong them again. Because all in all, her fan base was hurt the most. Like, yeah, her friends was like fucked over and shit, but I feel like her fan base was fucked over the most because those are the people that built you. You know what I mean? They are the ones that built you. And in a way, you took advantage of that in a sense of you were in competition with these people that were not in competition with you. You let your husband like control over everything that you did. So it's like, yeah.
It's just business. And this is just another Google Docie. Actually, it's not, Sinder. It's 1,000 fucking pages. Anyway, but I didn't want to hide from this for the rest of my life, and I couldn't let my legacy be decided by anyone other than myself. Now there's nothing else for me to say, and I can finally look ahead. I'm ready to return to doing what I love, even if it's on a smaller scale. I want to stream again, I want to create again, I want to inspire people again, I want to be someone people can look up to again. I love being a Vtuber, and I love being Sinder. Thank you for reading, and thank you for waiting. Oh my god!
Damn.
We finally made it.
Yes!
So yeah, guys, as you saw in the earlier section, she apologized. In this section, she forgave her friends. And at the end here, she said that she was coming back. And she did exactly
Google Docie
that.
right, bro.
As you saw at the beginning of this video, I talked to you about this tweet where Shondo inadvertently revealed that Sinder was married to Red. And yeah, she'd end up streaming. Her comeback stream would be on the 15th of October, and it would peak at 13,800 viewers. Her Pyro Pups would also shower her with money.
Oh my god. God damn.
I think she made anything from $10,000 to $40,000, reaching a level 55 hype train and only being live for close to 3 hours. She streamed 7 more times since then, with the last stream being on the 26th of October, 2025. Her viewership has been stabilizing, yes, and she has been losing some followers here and there. But overall, she's still in the top 1,000 channels on Twitch, and she's definitely doing very good. This is something that I expressed in my first video. She could have taken a week break, come back with a better apology, and just resumed streaming like she always has.
Yeah.
I mean, come on, who are we kidding here? Dr. Disrespect set this precedent. He messaged the minor, and look at his career. The reality is, unless a platform bans you, you could murder someone. But people will still watch when you stream. Here's the thing though. Before her comeback stream, she had made this announcement in her Discord server, saying, "Hi, I'll be streaming tomorrow, Wednesday, October 15th. I hope to see you there. For those wondering, I won't be talking about anything that happened in the past. I'd like to move on for mine and everyone else's sake and try to just have a normal stream, so I'd appreciate your understanding." So yeah, look through her stream. I can confirm she didn't talk about anything related to the drama. It was just her mostly crying and being happy that she's back with her community, also showing off the dog that she adopted. She'd then say in this message, "I want to clarify something else too. Red will continue helping and supporting me as a mod, but he is no longer acting as my manager or communicating for me. I have a new management team that will be advising me going forward." So that definitely was a very big piece of information that was left out of her document.
Yeah.
I don't know why. You see, her document specifically said that Red was sticking around doing the same thing he's always done, which was be her manager. The only difference is that now she'll be part of his DMs. Now, I don't know if this was planned or she saw the community backlash over her keeping Red and decided within the week of her posting the document that she was going to get rid of him. One thing's for certain though, I don't know what to believe. I mean, come on guys, they're married. We can't reasonably ask them to divorce over internet drama, but at the same time, it's hard to believe that he won't still be playing an important role in all of this. Either way, time will tell. With the artists she works with the editors, for example, is Red doing the communication or is it actually going to be a team? We'll find out eventually. However, I cannot overstate how much of a massive positive difference it would have done for her if she included this in the redacted section of her document. She'd then say, "I'd also like to repeat here that I do not condone the harassment of anyone and I never have. Please leave people alone. The mods have been directed to take action against those who do so against my wishes. Thank you." Now, you're probably wondering, what were people's reaction to this? More specifically, how did the people in her document react? Did they make their own statement? Did they talk about it? Did they say anything? Well, of course not. This was a 1,000-page document. Regular people didn't read it, and even content creators for the most part didn't bother reading the whole thing either. Very few did. I mean, seriously, would you rather read this or Lord of the Rings? And plus, it's not worth it. And even after you come up with your response, what is it really gonna do? The people who hate you will still hate you, and the people who love you will still love you. In the end, the squeeze is not worth the juice. But that's not to say that no one responded. And that's what leads us to Nano. In her Discord server, Nano would add everyone and say this: "Hello everyone. I feel like my closest community deserve a bit of information on recent happenings. First of all, I'm sorry for bringing all this mess to the community. Honestly, it's all in my hands for posting it because I felt it was the right thing to do. Mostly to show what's happening on the backstage of things." So look, before we keep going, all right, this is clear. She posted this in a panic because the English is so ridiculously broken. As we already saw, in her initial document she said, English not being my first language and the language barrier, I discussed the situation, my feelings and thoughts with native English speakers who helped me put them into words so everything is clear without any misunderstandings due to the lack of English skills. It was clear she didn't do that here. Anyway, she continues. Back then I really tried to be the people pleaser and didn't know how to say no to a cool project, and I ended up taking too much I could chew and also keep up with Cinder's projects, which I love to work with. I already worked really hard to keep up with Cinder's rhythm, give her priority, and still wanted to work with new people, which as you could see, didn't work well. I canceled many commissions. I did use Mio with his consent as an excuse to my clients, and Mio is not my manager since it didn't work out and I actually cut it from him. I do my own management. None of the canceled commissions were paid upfront and communicated months prior to the starting point. The canceled clients knew this, maybe just not Bao. Sorry, I don't remember well, and we have things sorted. I already worked my ass off to please Cinder, and there was a point I thought to myself, why not ask if they want me to be exclusive if they would pay for it since I was almost doing so. I revisited the first doc, and I'm sorry, I did realize it looks weird, but this was not the whole point. It was about the
I'm saving that, bro. Oh my god. I'm saving
blacklisting.
that.
The exclusivity was paid to me, but since I backed out because my friends told me I was being stupid by taking it, it was discounted from a commission payment. The offer was $3,951, cost rigging, and Novels Horizons.
I know chat isn't here to fucking watch me react, bro. I know why you all are here today. I know why you guys are here today. I know it ain't for no fucking react.
Cinder figure for my exclusivity. Thank you, friends. I also want to apologize to the people who have been mentioned with no reason at all on Cinder's doc. I needed help, but didn't think they would be included this way. They have nothing to do with the whole situation, so please don't ever bother them about this. In this case, I guess she's referring to Akira, her unofficial manager. She then ends by saying, I have
you guys
learned
are
a lot
waiting
through this
so
whole situation I
patiently.
caused. Sadly, I will still be working as much as I can because that's what I like to do. Saying no to clients still hurts me, but it's something I'm enduring in respects to them and my own limits. So again, this was really rushed. She was clearly in a panic. There was broken English. It was all over the place. It didn't help her. And to the people that were siding with Cinder based on what was available in the document, this was proof that they were right, and so was Cinder. Nana was the issue, and without her, none of this would have happened. Is that truly the case though? Well, that's up to you to decide. Another one of the people who were involved that would reply to Cinder would be Aru. She'd need over an hour to go through everything and explain her side of the situation. The first one would be in regards to Cinder saying that she was never the one who—
I want to see you freak out over the bat, respectfully. Appreciate it.
brought up Silverveil first. It was actually Aru. Watch.
Claimed. So this completely, it's a he said, she said situation at this point, because this is not true. Cinder literally told me that Silverveil inspired her and that one of her biggest dreams was to collab with Silverveil.
Oh.
And that is how it came up, because we were walking by the VShojo booth. So I don't know if this is how it happened in her head, but that is literally how it came up, because we were—
So already they both disagree on the most
Oh shit, you gotta be lying. Oh shit, bro.
But that is literally how it came up, because we were—
So already they both disagree on the most fundamental aspect of this, the fact that Cinder wasn't the first one to bring up Silverveil, right? Now, of course, in Cinder's document, she would say, Red can confirm this, he was a witness, but come on, like he's your husband, right? It won't lead anywhere. She would then address the last message she ever sent Cinder, where she was inviting her to come to an escape room, and Cinder didn't reply to her.
We did the escape room together. I remember you were feeling bad that you were shunned out. Yeah, no shit. Me not getting— and like, let me just say, me not getting the invite did make me feel shitty. I was sad. I was like, oh man, I wish I could have gone with them. I wonder why I wasn't invited.
Wow, what? Damn. Did she know you were a VTuber last TwitchCon? Wait, who? What are you talking about, Donkey? Huh? Hey, Cinder. No, I don't think she did. Oh, when I met her. No, I don't think she did. No, I don't think she did. Because again, like I said, when I go to TwitchCon or like conventions, I don't introduce myself. But I remember taking a picture for Crumbs, and I just felt very uncomfortable around her. You know what I mean? Whenever I saw her, or whenever I took the picture, I wanted to get out there real fast. I just felt very uncomfortable for some reason. You know what I mean? Because I already had a feeling. Like I said, like the DMs of 4. Let me show you real quick. Hold on. Yeah, see right here. This is like the only thing. She didn't say, you want a picture too? She asked if I wanted a picture too, and I said no. And I remember we hauled ass out of there, and I remember just like telling Crumbs, like, she has like envy eyes. And he was like, huh? And I was like, she's just got eyes of envy. Never mind. And then I just like moved on from it. You know what I mean? But anytime I saw her, she was like lingering around the Gamer Subs booth a lot, which made sense, of course. But like at the same time, I don't know, bro. Anytime I saw her at the convention, I just felt very uncomfortable for some reason. I just felt really weird. But anyways, this is back in like 2023, by the way, okay? This is like 2023. I said, I don't know. Oh, okay. So the conversation to this, to this screenshot, right? I had said, oh, we're looking at a VTuber tier list. And I was upset how I said, we're looking at a VTuber tier list. I sent him a tier list that someone made. And I had said, I'm so upset that I don't see Shizzy or Kenji on there. And we were talking about like the tier list. And then we were talking about Kenji. And then he had said, oh, Cinder's on there. And then I said, I don't know, man. And this is where I brought up the conversation of Cinder. I said something about Cinder. I said, I don't know, man. I get an odd gut feeling about Cinder at first. Oh, yo, you could tell I'm dyslexic. Holy fuck. I meant at first. At first, I thought it was jealousy, but I looked up to her for ASMR work. But the minute she became a VTuber and shit, my gut feeling started to grow. I was like, why am I not wanting to reach out to her anymore? I rarely ever get jealous. My gut feels uncomfortable when I see her and how she acts. And I'm like, I'm gonna stay away. And then my friend said, yeah, just a safe distance away. Your gut's never been wrong. And I put the little bear like, it has to be wrong this time. There's no way I could be right.
That was literally, oh man, I wish I could have gone with them. I wonder why I wasn't invited. That was literally my fucking mindset. I was like, damn, I wonder why I wasn't invited. That's really sad.
And the last
Chat, I think the funniest part too is that all this was happening in 2023, right? All of like their issues like with Cinder was happening like in 2023 and then like, you know, going forward from there, you know what I mean? And I think it's so fucking funny. 2023 is when I said this shit. I was like, oh. I was like, oh.
thing I'll show you.
And as always, your gut was right on the money.
Right, again, this is an hour, but the last thing I'll show you that I think is interesting is her explaining why she thought that Cinder didn't like her. And it would be a story that Cinder hadn't talked about or mentioned in the Aru section. Watch.
I have no idea what she's talking about in her tweet when saying Cinder made it clear. IRL, she didn't like me. Oh, thank God you brought this up, Cinder. So this is real, and you can choose to believe me or not. If that person wants to come out and corroborate the story, I implore them, but I don't think they will. But I was on a trip with a bunch of VTubers around the time of my birthday.
Fire.
You guys can go back to this trip and find it. It's fine if you want to. There's a whole paper trail. But during my birthday, I went on a trip with a bunch of VTubers.
Okay.
And we were at this party thing. I can't really say, but we were at this party thing, and we were going to go in groups, like in pairs of 2, to this thing. From what I saw, I actually had the flu during this time, so I was like really sick, and I was just sitting down quietly. And so we were supposed to go in pairs of 2. So each person had the pair of 2, and me and Cinder got paired together. And when me and Cinder were going to go do this thing, Cinder pulled this VTuber down, whispered something in her ear. Literally, this is happening right in front of me, by the way. And I say, Wallahi, I swear on pummel, bro, this happened. So you know I'm not a fucking liar. And she whispered in this VTuber's ear. And then the VTuber told me, actually, Aru, I think I'll go with Cinder, and then I'll come back and take you. So then that VTuber grabbed Cinder right in front of me, by the way, after Cinder and I were supposed to go in together, took Cinder to go do the thing, and then came back and took me to go do the thing. And it happened.
Ew, dude. Oh, she's actually like a high school girl. Oh, how old is Cinder, by the way? Does anybody know? Just curious. Just curious, because she's got to be like 22, 21 maybe. There's no way.
Right in front of my fucking eyes. So yes, I felt like you didn't fucking like me. And that really fucking hurt my feelings, by the way.
All right, so there you have it. Some more context, something that we didn't even know about, something that Cinder failed to mention, and it really shows you just how nuanced
in the 30s.
All this is, right?
Oh my. 30? She's 30? 30 still acting like this? Did she only, like, I don't want to be rude, bro. I don't want to be rude. Bro, you have Quen in the fucking chat saying, I heard about this. So, okay, so the story... There's more than one witness. Got it.
How as soon as someone decides to speak out and give more information, everything all of a sudden starts to change. Is Sinder still in the right after what Aru said, or is Aru still in the wrong? I'll let you decide. The last thing I'll show about Aru is the fact that she made a pinned comment saying, I just want to clarify that I made the decision I felt was right at the time. I still hold no ill will towards Sinder. I truly believe she can return to streaming and continue to find success.
Did her birthday
and finally,
come up
the last
recently saying that
response
she's in her
someone in the
mid-20s?
document
I
would
actually
make
don't know.
would actually be Bao during her
shit,
debut stream
Bao!
that happened after Cinder's document
Walk
dropped.
in.
In it, she would explain the situations that Red talked about that made him have his assumptions about her,
Oh,
as well as
no.
her general frustrations. Watch.
I'm finally home now, and yeah, if if anyone else wants to drop like a Google Doc on me, could you guys wait till like maybe after the holidays? Could you guys give me maybe like, I don't know, like a 1 to 2 month notice? That'd be
Aw.
really, really awesome. I actually can't. I'm actually like this close to going into psychosis. Like that would be really, really awesome. Yeah, I'm genuinely like this close. Like you don't even have to like write a Google Doc. Like make a scathing tweet about me, and that might just be enough. I'm gonna be honest.
Damn.
So yeah.
Oh my. She sounds so fucking tired, bro. This woman needs a break. I feel so bad. Oh, that sucks. And the Twitter hate happened. Yeah, she was low-key crashing out on Twitter. I said this before. Everyone was like, I've changed my opinion on Bao. I was like, brother, put yourself in her shoes for a second. All right? Have your friend sabotage you left and right. Paint a fucking Google Doc about you being the most whiniest fucking bitch ever. Having other people wrong you behind the fucking scenes for no fucking reason. And also having that ex-friends community dog on you and dox you probably. And then the tweet of like, and the funniest part is like the tweet that she had made was talking about, I think the Mizkif and Emaru situation, but she like quietly alluded to that. But people took the as, you're talking about me? They made the tweet about themselves, basically. And because of like that was like the fucking tipping point of like all the hate that she was getting. So she just started fucking tweaking out on Twitter. She started fucking crashing out on everybody. I was like, oh my God. I felt so fucking horrible for her. I was like, yo, you gotta take a step back. This is like not good. You know what I mean? You're saying some crazy ass shit. It's not good right now. It's not good. You don't want to like engage in the fucking hate. You don't want to do that because they will troll the fuck out of you and then you're actually gonna get baited. Don't do that. You think that you're the master baiter, but you're not. They're actually I need to breathe. Guys, just know I didn't mean it like that. I didn't mean it like that. My mouth was moving faster than my brain. Oh my God. But like, I forgot what I was saying. Basically, she thought that, I don't know, man. I just felt really bad watching her crash out, dude. She was actually having a crash out. And to see everyone, like, continue to, like, bait her, and she took the bait, I was like, oh. I was like, this is low-key sad. It was so sad. I shot her DM, probably got Donut Walled again. But who the fuck cares? And, I just felt so bad for her, dude. They took out the context of large content creator and small content creator during the Mizkif Emaru stuff and just saw females be scared of males and all. the men got mad. Anyone, I feel like anyone that made it about themselves, babe, she ain't talking about you. You know for a fact that she's not talking about you, so why are you getting upset? You know what I mean? You know for a fact that she's not talking about you, so why the fuck are you upset? Be so for real. And then everyone, I saw a lot of like women VTubers like switch up on her too, being like, Val could have worded it differently. She could have worded it differently. She should have said, everyone, be careful of said creators. But because of the Emru and Mizkiv situation, which made sense to talk about it, you know what I mean? Because of the situation, because she was alluding to that situation, nobody liked that. Because she didn't include all genders. I was just like, come on, bro. Y'all actually took it a little too far. I ain't even gonna lie. Yeah, when small male creators piped up to give me a good chuckle, but this isn't about you, bro. Yeah. Oh, Mizkiff is suing Emmer and Asmin for defamation. Yeah, I saw. And he just proved Emmer right again. He literally proved her right.
Yeah, I'm gonna be honest. So yeah, just letting anyone know if you got any issues you wanna air out with me. I can't even think of any. Apparently, a lot of things are worth putting into Google Docs now, such as oh my god, like, can you guys, I don't know, maybe like taking my editors out for dinner, and you know, one of my editors flying in from the Philippines. Apparently prioritizing feeding them is a cause for, you know, a grudge against me. Or actually, you know, another thing too is you know, being so obsessed with me that you buy a Twitch sub and stalk my Discord server and try to watch my mental breakdowns to my
So they were stalking her? What? Oh my god. So
sub server. Apparently that's a cause for a growing grudge, or maybe being pissed off at a racist Japanese shop owner for kicking me and my friends out because we were foreigners. Yeah.
damn.
Apparently that's also justification for hating the absolute shit out of me. Oh god, no, sorry. I should have been nicer to that racist old Japanese lady that kicked me and all my friends out despite us having a reservation. Yeah. No, it's cool.
Damn.
Awesome, you know. And yeah, by the way, I don't want your fucking money. Have a great life. Anyways, let's have a great stream today, guys.
Oh, I
What do
feel
you
so
think?
bad for her,
So yeah,
dude.
this adds a lot of context to what
Oh my fucking god. I feel so fucking horrible for her. Oh yeah, Red was stalking her Discord big time. So her Discord, he made it sound like her Discord was open to the public, but it's a fucking sub-only server. Oh my fucking god, dude.
Red had, and it's something I mentioned, you know, it could have been anything, and I'm sure she had her reasons, and now that she actually said them, well, she made Red
He
look even
actually made it sound like it was a public Discord, but if it's a sub-only Discord and she's venting to her fucking community, brother, I don't know if she's like the quote-unquote whiny bitch that you make her out to be. You bought a fucking sub to see what the fuck she was talking about. What?
worse than he already was, and that's
Wow.
already a hard thing to do. One of her mods came from the Philippines all the way to TwitchCon just to meet up with Bao. And I mean, come on, man. Yeah, you gotta make some tough decisions sometimes. It doesn't mean she doesn't like her friends. And when it came to that one friend who had a problem with Bao over an altercation that happened at a restaurant, well, now we know it was a racist owner. Maybe the friend just didn't like the fact that Bao made a big deal out of it, but I doubt that justifies wanting to blacklist her. We also would get some sort of a new detail at the end there with her saying, I don't want your money. This could mean anything, but it could indicate the fact that maybe Sinder or Red are trying to give her money for the damage they caused to her. But hey, don't worry, because this is all just speculation. I can't believe we made it to the end. In conclusion, I'd say this document took a lot of effort. Way too much effort. And in the end, I doubt it was worth all that effort. Sinder could have come back with a 5-page document, laying out some of the things that bothered her, but also apologizing and wanting to move on, while saying that Red is not working for me anymore, just like she did in the Discord server, and getting a manager that's well liked by the community who could set her straight. She would have been received by the wider VTuber community with open arms. I mean, it's been 5 months, come on. And most people would say, yeah, you deserve a second chance. What she ended up doing was different. She wrote 1,000 pages, something that's never been done before and might win the Guinness World Record for a Google Doc written for the purpose of online drama. And if anything, this document showed us more issues regarding both Sinder and Red. Cinder was a terrible friend, especially from 2024 onwards. She admits this herself. We got to see the extent of how bad of a friend she actually was by neglecting her other friends like Bao and Numi. Red, on the other hand, turned out to be way worse than we could have ever imagined. The guy would create fan fictions in his head to justify hating people that were his wife's friends. It was a disaster. Objectively speaking, Red is radioactive and needs to be kept away from anything Cinder related if she wants her brand to survive. When it comes to Cinder, though, I don't think most people think that she's evil. She made mistakes, and yeah, normally I would have said she deserves a second chance. The one thing that would stop me from making this conclusion too quickly, though, is the fact that she included the speculation parts of this document.
Yeah.
These sections are very dangerous, and even though she would claim that she's against harassment, they only cause further harassment, especially with a community of zealots who would do anything to defend their queen. That's the reality. I don't know if it was her idea or Red's idea. Honestly, at this point, who cares? They wrote it together, but that's really the one thing that I personally cannot ignore. I have a problem with it. In any case, this document and the drama will die down. Cinder will keep streaming, but she will be alone in doing so. But that's okay, because maybe at the end of the day, that's exactly what the Pyropups want. They want her to give them her full attention, with no distractions such as friends. If you watch until the end, you're crazy. Now you genuinely, actually, right now have to get up and talk to a therapist, but I really appreciate you anyway. I wonder what you think about this mess, because the only thing I can think about is how I never, ever in my life want to see another Google Doc ever again. You understand? Anyway, if you want me to become a part owner of Gamer Subs without writing a 1,000-page document, then go use my code, Mujin, for 10%
fuck
off
this
your total
guy.
order. Thank you so much
Fuck
for watching.
him.
I'm going on
What?
vacation. I don't want to look at a single YouTube video, tweet, or document ever again, and I will see you in the next video, whenever that is. I just contradicted myself, but hey, I love you. Mwah.
Oh my god. Guys, we finished the fucking video. Oh my goodness. How do we feel by the end of this video?